Okay, cool. Yeah, good evening. Once again. I know we've had a couple of sessions on React, basic fragmented sessions and all. And sorry, I was away for some time. I traveled for something urgent. But yeah, we back, and then let's see how we wrap up this. So I'm currently trying to upload the lesson notes for React on the learning management system. Yeah, this is on the learning management system, but it has not been published yet. So you'll not be able to see it if you log in as of like now, right? But maybe after the lesson, maybe tonight, I should be able to finish the upload, and then you can have access to the course materials as well. So yeah, these are the different models we'll be covering. We'll do like an introduction to React and the virtual DOM. We've actually talked about this. We've talked about JX, that's the UI language components. We've talked about this, probes, passing data, state and events, logics in the UI, side effects, and APIs, basically. So these are the different models we'll be covering. And for each of the models, you can see the lesson, how React works behind the scene, setting up your first React environment. You can then, same for the JX, also for the components, how you write your first components and all. Then props, short for properties, right? How you can pass like how you can pass data into a component. Data, those are like properties, right? Then you have states and event. We'll talk about use state. I think there was our first session, somebody asked me about use states. So these are like component memory, like, right? Handling events, input forms and states. We look at logics in the UI, and then the side effects. That's use effect. This is a hook, dependency arrays, and yeah, cleanup functions. One thing I want you us to also know is that there's no way, I think I mentioned this when we started this program, we'll be able to cover everything about React, even in this note. It's a broad ecosystem that keeps evolving and on. So the learning never stops. That's one amazing thing about this journey we have embarked on. It's a learning phase that you'll never graduate. Nobody can wake up one morning and say, oh, I've learned everything and I know everything. It's not possible. I can't say that either. It's, yeah, even I can't say that. Right? So nobody can just wake up one morning and say, oh, I know everything. Or this is the beginning and the end. There's a beginning, but there's no end. The ecosystem keep evolving, things keep changing and all that. But this, understanding these several modules will give you a core fundamental and background for you to even start building stuff and then figuring things out as you go. I do that every day. I learn as I go to, right? So yeah, it's the learning never stops. So basically, these are the key modules that you're going to be seeing in your LMS. So yeah, like I said, I've not published this. It's still in preview phase because I was trying to review it as well. Right? But we'll be using it as a guide for our today's session so that you understand how to basically navigate through it. So under the first module, which is Introduction to React, this is just reading how React works behind the scene. In a traditional web development, whenever data changes, the browser has to rebuild the document. We've talked about DOM to update the screen. This process is notoriously slow and resource heavy. React solved this using a virtual DOM. So DOMs, this is document object model, right? I think when we did DOM manipulation when we are learning JavaScript. So I believe that should like give you high level understanding of what the DOM really is, right? So then the second lesson you look at is how to set up your own React project, right? So this is just the basic command you can run: npm create vite add letters. So this is my first app. This is basically like the name of your application. So this is where you're just using a template called React, right? Let's try and run this command. You also see how it works. Let me pull up my terminal. Um, yeah, this guy. Let me zoom this in a bit too. So let me navigate to my desktop and create a folder there. Uh, Okay. I think we had a folder we are pushing all of those lessons inside. Let me see if I can find it. Let me check in the document. Let's see. Yeah, this is the folder. Yeah, cool. So this is the folder that we're doing all our work inside. Let me zoom it. Close this guy. Oh, I'm using Cursor. Sorry. I should be using VS Code. Come on, man. Okay, yeah, that's opened up on another screen. Okay, so I'm gonna zoom this in. So open up my terminal, choose this folder. Yeah, so currently this is the branch we are in, right? Lesson 7. So let's check out to the main branch. So as usual, we're going to do git checkout to the main branch. So this is the main branch. We are now in the main branch. You can see the name of the branch here. You can see there's, oh, okay, this is in the main branch. Okay, that's fine. Okay, from the main branch, let's check out to a new branch. Let's call this lesson 8. Instead of lesson 8, let me just call this React small class. So that yeah, let me just keep it to the format to be using. Lesson 8 / React. So this is going to be the name of the branch, lesson 8 / React. So we are in a new branch. Let me delete this folder out of this branch so that when you check the GitHub account, you're only going to see what we'll be doing today in this particular branch. So yeah, we are starting on a clean slate. There's nothing here. There's no code base. Forget the fact that I'm using the VS Code to create my new project. You can use your terminal straight up, right? But VS Code also gives you a terminal, right? Control back tick will open the terminal for you, or you can go somewhere here. This is terminal, new terminal, and then you have this environment to work on, right? So you can either do this here, or you could just set it up here and then open up the your code base, right? So I can even do that. Okay, let me not use VS Code. I don't want to create confusion, right? So I can from here, let me check out to the branch. Yeah. So I'll git checkout. So I want to check out to the branch we just created. So this is the branch. Good. So this is the branch. So if I do ls, you notice that there's nothing inside. It's just this readme file, right? So assume this is our normal terminal, right? Why I'm creating it inside of this place with a inside of this folder is because I'm just trying to put all the lessons we had together in one folder, right? But for you, you could just open your terminal and run it anywhere to create that project anywhere on your machine. It can be on your desktop in a particular folder or anywhere at all. It's fine, right? So yeah, why I'm creating it here is basically I just want to have it inside of this specific folder, right? So if you go back to the lesson materials, this is just the command you need to run, right? So this is like, okay, npm, we've talked about npm, node package manager. It just helps you, it's a package manager, right? You know, already we've talked about node, then this is like the package manager called npm. So once you install Node.js, it automatically comes with npm. How can you check you have npm on your machine? You just type npm-v. you can see the version. Once this did not return, it means you do not have npm on your machine, right? So all what this is npm create vite at latest. This my first React app is just the name of the application. So whatever name you specify here is going to be the name of the application. So you can pass in this template and say, okay, you want to create a React app. Okay, I'll run this command without this tool. So you see, if you run it without this tool, then it now takes you into a step by step. It now takes you into like a dialog box to choose, okay, what do you want to create? Is it a React, JavaScript, is it a React Next, or all of that? So let me run this command. So I'll just copy only this part, or in fact, I can just copy just this one. Remember, my first React app here is just the name of the project, right? I'll paste it here. npm create vite at latest. So I can give it like let me call this React recap. React recap. So basically, this is like the name of the project. So if you're building an app, ideally, this is supposed to be like the name of the app you're building, not this React recap or my first project. If you're building, let's say, an application, you want to call it Sam, it could be like, okay, npm create vite at latest, the name of the app you're giving it, right? I hope that makes sense. So let me, if I hit enter, so now, so it's going to take me through this dialog box now. So, but as me, I ran this command with this flag template React, it will skip this stage for me, right? But now, because I didn't do that, I'll manually select React here. So this is not a TypeScript. I want it to be a JavaScript. So you see, I'll pick JavaScript. So ESLint, install npm and start now. So yeah, if you want it to run npm install for you automatically, that's what this command is saying. If you say no, it means you're going to run npm install by yourself to install all the packages that are needed to get this app up and running. So if you want, let me just do no. So see, so now you have created the project. So you have to navigate here. So if you said no, it's now tell you, okay, navigate to your project here and then run npm install. Then you can do npm run dev to start the project. So let me do ls so you see what I'm saying. If I do ls, remember what we had here initially was, let me zoom this in, was just the md file, this readme file. Now this is the project we just created. So to navigate into this project, that's where it's now telling us to run this command, cd react underscore. So now you can see that we are currently in the project here. So now the next command is to run what? npm install. But we can even do this in VS Code, right? So let me just open this in VS Code. So that I could just see the structure. But anyway, before I do, it has actually opened quite right, but I'll not bring up that interface yet. Let me just continue here. So let's run the next command, which is what? npm install. So I do npm install. So I'll run npm install. First of all, you have to navigate there first. npm install. npm run dev is for you to start the project, right? So let's run our npm install. This is going to take a couple of minutes, couple of seconds, or a minute or more, depending on how good your network is. Right? So let's just give it a few minutes. Few minutes. While this is running, let me get some liquid to drink. Yeah, I think that process is completed. So you can then now open, now that our project has successfully installed, we can open it in our code editor. Let me clear my screen. I can now type code dot, right? Just, I'm using open this current folder with VS Code. That's opened it. So this is our project here, our dummy project that we just created. So the folder structure remains, let me see. So yeah, you can see those three commands as well are captured here. So basically that's all what you see under module 1. Like module 2, let's see what's here. In React, you write your UI using a syntax called JX, that's JavaScript XML. It looks almost identical to HTML, but it lives directly inside of JavaScript files under the hood. React transforms this JX into complex JavaScript objects. So this is just like a basic element. I think we've talked about all this. Let me see, the next thing you have here is, so for every component, right, it returns a single parent. If you look at this, is wrong, returning two siblings. You can see return here. So you can notice that this is on one line, this is on one line. All these things supposed to be in one single parent. So if you look at this, you see these two that we had here are all inside of this. So what you're returning is just one single parent. You can put multiple components inside, but one single parent, right? And then another thing again, you need to, so these are like the basic rules. Rule number 1, return a single parent element. Rule number 2, use class name instead of class. Remember when we're writing our our HTML, CSS, we can give an element a class, and then call that class and start editing it. But here in JavaScript, in React, you don't do class. Rather, you do class name. And this is camel case. Remember we talked about camel case, snake case, and all. So rule number 3 is close every single tag. So for example, this is an image tag. This works, right? But this is a self-closing tag. So you're supposed to put like the / here. If you look at, there's a difference between this and this, right? So you should always ensure that you close every single tag. So these are like the 3 key rules, right? So let's go back to our code base and look at the structure. Let me see. Yeah, look at the structure. So this guy is just like a bundle of all the packages we are using. So you're not writing any code base here. It's just a node module, right? Public, this is where we can keep your things like your assets. You can see this is the logo currently being used. Public assets that you want them to be public, just as the word is, right? Then this is the meat of your application, the SRC. So if you open this, you can see assets. You can keep some of your assets. Asset could be images. You can see this image, React SVG, Vite SVG. Those are images, right? In the asset folder. Every project has its own different folder structure, or the team can decide on how they want to structure their project, right? So this is just the meat of the game. So you have your app.css is here. This is like the entry point, and then the entry point of your CSS, right? You can replace this as well. So this is your app.jx. But in all of this thing, this is the most important file, main.jx. So now let's start from the most important guy. So like I was saying, this is the meat of the game. Open this, you see main.jx. So inside of main.jx is rendering a file, this file. Import app from app.jx. This is app.jx. So this is another key file. So this app.jx is the styles are being imported here. Can see import app.css, and this is app.css containing all the CSS file, right? So after you have run npm install, remember the third command to start your application is to write npm run dev. If you forget, how would you know that? If you check package.json, you can see dev. So you're saying npm run this dev. So it's going to run this Vite, right? So let me hit this. And then, yeah, to start up our application on this route. So once you open this URL, let me copy this URL. I wanted to click on it, but let me just copy it and come to the browser. Next tab, paste that link here and hit enter. So this is what we just generated, right? So if you go back to that place now, let's say you want to start getting rid of certain things like so getting rid of certain things, let's go to the app.jx. So this is where everything is contained, right? So you see, get started. This is the get started. If I change this thing to now to let's see, one is it? So now let's see lesson 1 or lesson 8, or let me change this to learn React. To learn React, you can see learn React here, right? So this is where everything is happening inside of this file, right? So we can select this area and delete. If one, we can move all that out. See, all of that section has gone. So we can even delete every code base inside of this place and write our own. So we can pull out everything here, remove all these things, all these references, can take them out. So we can put our own H1. This is our normal HTML that we'll be writing. So if we go back to our notes, remember lesson module 2, not here. I think module 2. Let's see. I'm trying to find where the 3, I think it's here, the 3 rules. Okay, the 3 rules here. So remember I said everything has to be done in a single parent. So this is the single parent. The single parent can be just React fragment like this, or it can even be it can be a div, right? But this has to be like a single parent. And every other thing can be inside. So you can copy all these things now and dump inside in between. So this is a single parent, right? Let's go back to our React app. So if I let me delete the entire CSS that is here. Let me check. I think there should be another CSS file. Yeah, there's another CSS file. This is index.css. So this one is being controlled here. You can see it here, right? So if I can just remove this thing completely. I don't want their own default index.css and delete this file as well. Move it out completely. You can see now I have a clean environment. All their stars are gone, right? So this is the app.jx. So if you want to start doing any styling here, already we have imported this guy. We could just give this guy here now a class name. You can call this let's call this main underscore container. Let's call this main underscore container, right? So we can come back. Let me split my screen. Where's this guy? Here. And remember, this is a class name. Put dot. Remember, same the way we'll be writing our CSS, nothing has changed. Dot. We can give this guy now of, let's see, we can give it a width. A width of, let's say 90%. I don't want it to be full, so that I'll be able to see it. And then let's give it these declarations. Let me just pick this. So I've just given it width of 90%, that I should be positioned everything in the center, and then padding of 20. And this is the background color we intend to give it. You can now see it here, if you notice. I'm sure you can see it, right? Or we can even, let me make it obvious. So we can target the entire, let me come to the main file. This is the main file, right? Okay, app.js. There's a root ID of root, right? So let's target that root. We can give this hash. Remember, for IDs, we start with hash, right? Hash root. Let's give this guy a background color that is black. So you can see Let me give it a height to be let's say 100%. Okay. No, let me just give it like just for this lesson sake. Let me say 500 pixels. So we can make it obvious. So you can see this is it. And then this is our inner container, right? Or maybe let me do this. Let me just target the HTML itself and give it a background color or black. Let's see. Yeah, you can see the entire page now is black. So, but this one, that's our main container. We give it this background color. That's why I can see. Then you can, at this point, you can just start building in your component and styling them the same way you'll be writing our HTML and CSS. So nothing changes actually. So the cool part is here now is because we said we extract things into components. You can come here. We can inside our SRC folder right here. Let me create a new folder and we can call this component, right? So what does our lesson say about components? Let me go down to components. So we have it that come up on. A component is a single JavaScript function that returns a JX markup. Think of it as a custom HTML element that you create yourself. The golden rule, your component function name must always start with a capital letter, right? Let's say this is a simple component. Let's copy this guy. So we want to create a new component here. This component, we want to call it user profile. So we can create a user. So component basically is just a file, right? We're creating a new file, user.jsx, right? The shortcut I showed you guys was just do REFCE and hit enter to automatically generate that one for you. So you now have this component, right? So if we want all this, let me move all this content we have here. All this content we have here into this component. So this is our component. And we have a class name of profile. So how can you make this component now display here? You inject it. So this is what you're going to do. Let me open the meat of the game. This is app.jx. So this is the entry file. Remember where this is coming from? The main.jx, which is like the entry point, has a file called app.jx. This is it. So if you open that file, this is the file app.jx, right? That's what is displaying on the screen here, right? So if we take, imagine we take this guy and then we can copy this component name here and render it as a HTML, like as though you're rendering a HTML element, just / greater than sign and this, right? And then you import it. You can use, sorry, I'm looking for shortcut, Control space bar on your keyboard to help you auto import it. This is it. It has done the importation automatically for me, right? So if I come back, you can remember what we wrote here, Sarah Jenkins, web developer. So it's this component now that is rendering. So this is the component here. So if you want to style this particular component alone, right? That's where you could use things like Tailwind to write it here, but not Tailwind is not part of this session, right? So you can maybe, let's say maybe I can even have a CSS file here. Let me have a CSS file. Call this user profile.css. So all what I need to do is just come here and import that file. Come here and import let's see. Yes, this is the file. Oops. And import this. So this is the file. So we could just, once you have done that, automatically you have linked it. So I can come here. This is a class, right? Profile. So let me put my dots and then give it a style. What can we say? Let's give it a border first of all. Let's give it a border 1 pixel solid, and let's curve the edges of the border. That's called border radius of, let's give it like 15 pixels. Let's put a padding to it. Padding is just like the spaces, so that the text will not be touching. Like, maybe let me comment this so that I'll show us what is padding first. So you can see, this is the, let me give it a width of 200 pixels. 200 pixels. So you can now see it. This is it. Let me make it 250. So you can now see it. So this is the style. Notice that the styles. Why is my mouse misbehaving? So notice that the mouse. Oops, sorry. The You can see the elements here, right? So if you notice, these words are touching this ellipse. That's where padding comes into play. So you could just come here and give it a padding of 20 pixels, for example. But come, you notice that this is no longer touching. So this is padding now. So you can see this is a reusable component. Anywhere I want to display user profile in the application, all what I need to do is just render it. If I want multiple of these things, I could just copy this thing like this, paste it again. So instead of rewriting the same thing, it's like you have written one code block, you're just injecting the code block. You see now I have 1, 2. If I go back to the UI, I can see 1, 2 of it. I can paste this thing as plenty as I want. So instead of repeating this code over and over and over, you just write it as a single bucket, and then you can render it. So if I come back to the UI, I can see all of them here. Now that they are touching, I can position it. Remember, we styled this thing here. I can come to this guy and do something that I can call this, okay, display flex. Not flex direction. So if I say display flex, so you see everything is now wrapped up this way because I say it should display flex. So so I can even increase component, go here. Let me increase the width of this thing to like 350. So I can give it a gap. So they are all touching, right? Touching each other. So that's why I'm giving it a gap of, let's say, 20 pixels. So that they will no longer be touching. You can see there's space now. Let me make it like 30 pixels. So I can do flex wrap. So that what I did was so that it will wrap to the next line. You can now see all of them positioned like this. I hope this makes sense. So yeah, you can now see that we have basically this is just the essence of writing components, right? So you have one code snippet that you can reuse it over and over anywhere you want to use it. So that's like basically maybe the long and short of component. I just hope that makes sense. So let's see what we have going down here. So yeah, you could have, okay, for example, now let's say we could even have another component called, so this is like a button component, for example. So everything here is strictly under component. You just need to read through component. Let's say I have another component called a footer. Yeah. So let's say we have another component called the footer. So I can come here again inside component and create my component called this footer.g. Oh, sorry. So this first one is for file, called this footer.g. Remember REFCE. REFCE. What's that? REFCE. Then you can leave this as a div, but there's a footer, right? And then here you could write your all this, and then dump it here. So you can pick this guy, come back to this place, and also render it. So yeah, to import it is either you use the control space bar so that it gives you this option to just pick it, or if you want to go manually, you come in here to do import footer from components and all. So if you go to the UI, let's go to the UI. Oh, let me give it background color so that it's visible. Let's style it. So I can put a file here and call this footer.css and come to this JX file. The cool part is we just can just call this div and get about it. Create our class name and call this footer. And then I can copy this guy, come here and put a dot footer space. Let me give it the background color of this. Text should be positioned in the center, padding this. Yeah. So let's see how it looks. Come back to this guy. Why can I see this man? What's happening here? What is happening here? What is happening? Oh, this is where it's positioned. You can see it. Because of that, we declared this guy to be flex. Correct. So maybe to avoid some of all these things, I can grab all this guy and put it inside a div. A div. Put everything inside a div. Or yeah, instead of using div, let me just use a main here and put this inside a div and call this div profile container. So I can go to this same CSS file, this one here, this guy here, and call that guy. And then I want to move all this flex thing inside of it. So to refresh everything stays, you can now see this one at the bottom right. Yeah, so let me just, okay, let's do something. Let's give margin at the bottom. Margin bottom. Margin at the bottom to be 20 pixels. So yeah, so that I can have space here. Right. The footer guy, I can as well. Footer. Oh yeah, we have not imported the CSS here, right? So it's not taking effect. That's why if you notice this text is still here, but oops, it's still like at the beginning. But in our CSS file, which is here, we said the text should be at the center, but I've not imported this CSS there. So what you need to do is just import this slash footer CSS. You can see it's now here, right? And then can even see the background color. Let me make the background color a bit obvious. Let's call it gray. You can see the gray background color here. So this is basically how you just build your component and connect them into your app. And right, let's see what's happening here. Yeah, so maybe my assignment for you guys would be that you should try and build like a landing page. Pick a landing page. Maybe I'll try to screen grab a landing page and share in the group. I want you to build it in different components. Build the nav, build the hero, build the main area, build the footer as separate components, inject it, and then this is how I want you to submit it. Push it into your GitHub repository, make that repository public, and then share the link of the repository. Right? So let it not be just learning by listening to me, right? So once you share that link, I'll also review your code base and then drop comments. So we could maybe in our next week's lesson, what we'll be doing is we just review your code base. Yeah, handling events. Let me see what's here. Okay, this is just JX language. In React, you write your UI using the syntax code. Yeah, that one you just need to read up. Yeah, we've talked about these rules. So the building blocks, the component, we've just talked about components now. Composing components. Yeah, so this is basically what I was trying to ask us to do. This is like a giant parent component. So you see, you have like returning a nav bar. So you know what a nav bar, this is like a standalone component. Inside of me, you go down, direct your main page, your footer, separate, and all. And then let's see what's here. What's here? What's here? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. HTML with JavaScript. Okay, this is where we talked about events, forms, and all. So yeah, I think I would like to keep this lesson for today here. I don't want us to take too much. So maybe in our next lesson, we'll talk extensively about forms and then how to handle forms. So we'll build a simple login, we'll build a simple sign in and sign up form. Okay, I think we should do this assignment this way. This is basically what I want you guys to do. Okay, this is what I want you guys to do. We have a week. I want you guys to build 3 things for me. I will share a link, a Google form where you submit your assignments. That's linked to those GitHub repositories. I want you guys to do 3 things. The first thing is the first repository, you're submitting a landing page, well structured, everything split out as different components. Landing page, that's number one. The second repository, this is what you're giving me, is going to contain a simple login form, email, password, just a simple basic login form. You can even use the login form of our learning management system. Try to as a guide. That's one. Or you could pick any website. Ooh, do Facebook. Try to build a that Facebook login page and Facebook sign-in page. I think I built that when I was learning. I can't remember. So you build a landing page for me first. Build a Facebook sign-in page separate. A Facebook login page in another repository. So we'll review this code base. In our next session, I'll bring all those 3 things together as one app. I'll just put all of them into one. And then we'll now learn how to handle forms using use state. So that's where we'll now be looking at states. Yeah, that's where we'll now be looking at component memory. So basically today and past sessions, what we've done is we talked about this, we did a sample of this, we have not done this, right? So we'll pass probes and then do this state together and then put in logic. So I basically want you guys to first try build out something and then we'll put life into what you've built. So I think that's going to make more sense, right? Let it not be me coming here to build things and all. It's not going to help you at the end of the day. Yeah, thank you. Please find a way. So is there any question about what we've done today and about our assignments? The submission deadline is going to be Friday, so that by Saturday, I must have given you guys feedback. Any question? Remember 3 GitHub repositories. One has a sign-in page. sorry, a landing page. The second one has Facebook sign-in page. A separate project has Facebook login page. We have not done navigations, right? So I don't want you to try to learn navigations. So why I said we're going to put everything together is we then learn how to do navigations, connect all those things together. And my plan is I'll also now teach you how to deploy your own landing page that you've built on a free environment so that you can be able to share links to what you've done, basically. But still, before then, you can also take a look at this platform called, look at Vercel. It's going to log me into my account. And it's going to do that. I didn't log out. Yeah. Oops, I shouldn't open this on this call. It's recorded. Let me use incognito. So Vercel, take a look at Vercel. What's happening? I'm not in incognito mode. Take a look at Vercel. Take a look at Netlify. Yeah, this is Vercel. Netlify coming up. Take a look at what's the name of this guy's name? I can't remember now, but yeah, just take a look at these two guys. Vercel. They will allow you to do like some of your deployments for free, your React application, so that be able to share your link for free. You deploy without making any payment. And oh god, bicycle. And then same for Netlify, right? So you can also check out Netlify. Netlify. Yeah, this is Netlify. Right. So if you're able to deploy it, fine. If you're not able to deploy it, we'll see, maybe have like a quick walkthrough, but try to also see how push your ideas to the web. So I think these guys too will allow you to deploy for free. This one too, at least deploy a basic project for free. So like that, you can even start sharing what you've been building and all. Yeah, I think that will be all for today. It's almost, we have 2 minutes left. So any questions for me? Any questions?
Yeah. Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening, Mr. Daniel.
Yeah. Thank you. Please, can you just quickly go over the exercise again?
Sure, I will. Any other follow-up question? Or that's all. Okay, so basically, this is what I want you guys to do for me. I want you guys to do 3 things. Create 3 different GitHub repositories on your GitHub account. That's number 1. Number 2, the first GitHub repository, you can call it my landing page or my website. If I call it my website, that makes more sense. Build a single page landing page. It can even be like, you can even go online and try to do your own research and build like a portfolio for yourself. I'm fine if you try to use AI as well, but try to understand it. Like your own portfolio website, kind of, right? For yourself, or any landing page at all. Key takeaways that 3 things I want you to pay attention is split things into different components. That's the first part. The second GitHub repository, open www.facebook.com and try to build the login page. Deploy that one on the second GitHub account. The third GitHub repository, try to build Facebook sign up page. And then I'll also share I will share a link in the group for you to be able to submit your work so that I can be able to go through them and then drop my own comments. So then by this side, I was saying you guys should also explore Vercel and Netlify. These two platforms allow you to deploy your code base and then have like visuals that somebody can interact and play with. If you can do that, fine. If you cannot, we'll still find time to go over these platforms and see how we can deploy them. I don't know if that makes sense. Any other question? Daniel, did I
Okay,
answer your
sir.
question?
Sir, please, can you drop the...
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, Precious, go on.
Thank you.
Okay.
Sir, please, can you drop the question on our WhatsApp group? Like the exercise.
Okay, I will do that.
All right, thank you.
All right. So if there are no other questions, thank you guys. Do have a wonderful evening. I'll try to share the recordings of this call again tonight. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you very, very much, sir.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night. Bye-bye.